Hello, my name is Carol May Whittick, your creativity and spiritual life coach, and welcome to Higher Energetic Resonance Inspirations. And in this week's episode, I'm continuing to share my inspirations. And this week, I talk about the artist Wassily Kandinsky. And I'll only really be talking very briefly about Kandinsky. There's a reason why I'm bringing him and his art and his way of expression into the conversation. I want to look more at how our own authentic perception can be conveyed through our creativity. And a quote from the artist himself: "Every man who steeps himself in the spiritual possibilities of his art is a valuable helper in the building of the spiritual pyramid, which will someday reach to heaven." If you haven't already, please consider joining the mailing list. In the email that you will receive, I will be sending out additional teaching points and resources for you to explore deeper in your own personal time, whether you're public speaking, launching your podcast, or being more vocal in your life. This course acknowledges my holistic approach between your spirit, your physical mind and body. And if you're ready to work with me in a more private and tailored container, then I'm inviting women over 40 to contact me if you're ready to trust your intuition, discover your own innate creativity, and also use your decades of wisdom to design your purposeful life. All of the links are in the show notes below. So into this episode, and who was Kandinsky? He was born in 1866 in Moscow. He passed in 1944 in France. And he is one of the first creators of pure abstraction in modern art. Now, my fascination with him was because of his synesthesia. He experienced colours and sounds as being interconnected, and to him, colour had a feeling, a sensation. He would even talk about how green was restful, white was silence, black was dead silence, orange was the violin, violet was the horn. Having that extra dimension of perception when it came to music was fascinating to me. I have a memory of one time when I'd spent all day long in the studio and I'd come back home and I was just exhausted, and I was in the bath and hearing the drips of the water from the tap into the bath. There was a true ring and a true tone to it. And I saw how the more that you can immerse yourself, then everything, even what we would consider the everyday and the mundane, starts to resonate back to you in that own frequency. And in his book concerning the spiritual in art, he articulates his idea about the spiritual power of colours and shapes. He was using those colours to evoke emotions and his spiritual experiences. He believed that we could transcend the material world and communicate deeper truths through this. For one who was doing something in such a bold way, his abstraction was a representative of breaking out of what was considered to be traditional art. He was pushing those boundaries. And you may be listening to this and say, well, I've told you, Carol, I'm not creative, I'm not an artist. This is where we beg to differ. But the reason why I'm really fascinated with Kandinsky was the connection between spirituality and art, which I think if you listen to me enough know that I'm always talking about creativity is spirituality. Art is just another expression of creativity, but anything can be your art. It doesn't just have to be paintings on a canvas. So this is why I referred to him. And also recently I revisited his book concerning the spiritual in art, and it's a fascinating listen. I was listening to it. It may take a while to sink into the language of the book, but once you do, there's some real rich truths there as well. And I'm seriously considering getting the hard copy because I really would like to see those words as well as just hear them. Back to the lessons that we can gain from Kandinsky and other artistic mavericks. From them is, first, have the courage to innovate. Kandinsky innovated by challenging what was perceived as what art was. The status quo was, this is what art is. And it was showing, and it shows us the importance of embracing change when it comes to our own personal growth and our own creativity. And being able to embrace persistence and passion despite the inevitable misunderstanding and criticism and resistance that may come. You can imagine if you suddenly decide that this is the way that things were going to be done, many people would still want to hold on to what they had known and the customary ways of doing so. But if you remain dedicated to your own creative passions and your own expressions, people will recognize the beauty and the expression and will respect what you're doing. It gives permission for other people to push down the boundaries, look within themselves to see what it is that they have and what is calling them to push past what they believe is all that there is. Kandinsky's belief in art was the ability to connect with universal and spiritual truths. Why I feel this relates to my work and why I feel it relates to you as a listener of my content is this is what I'm all about the connection between creativity and spirituality. The question to you now is thinking about the way that you do things that are the way that you're leaving a mark and an expression and an impression of yourself on the world. Is there a way that you can break free from conventional norms? Not for the sake of just breaking free from them, but breaking free from them if they're restricted what is authentic about you. Can you sink into your inner vision and your intuition? Can you commit to trusting your inner voice and let that guide your spiritual journey? Let that guide what you then choose to give back and create. What I feel that can do for you is when you start to feel your own art at that deeply sensory and spiritual level, your own art, and knowing what that means to you, you then are able, I feel, to feel the communication of other people's expression, truly be able to appreciate something for what is being conveyed and resonate with it on a deeply empathetic level, more so than using the mind to decide that this is a good thing and that is a good thing. Sometimes what should be feeling becomes so logical and so led by language. If we go back to last week's conversation and inspirations episode about Jill Bolte Taylor and what it meant for her to lose that side of herself when she no longer had the capability because of the breakdown of the left hemisphere of her brain. When language and logic and those details went away, she was just left with the pure experience of energy. On an individual and collective level, I feel this is important because the world needs more feeling from an internal place where we feel what it is and who it is that we are on that spirit level, and then are able to pour that back into the world. When you start to calibrate to the own resonance of your spirit, and then to endeavor to feel that in all that you express, you know that you're resonating from that core level. You know that that's the truth of who you are, and then what you're bringing towards you is the truth, is other people resonating at their truth, and there becomes that sympathetic, empathetic understanding. And then when you choose to create, everything levels up. You are fully attuned to yourself, and you know that also you won't be satisfied with just throwing something out there for the sake of it. You really want to make sure that you're doing things from the truest part of yourself. So how now do we find and get to that place of feeling and then recognizing and having trust that we have started to discover what is our authentic voice, and to be in communion and to honor the uniqueness of our own spirituality? First, I believe it comes by getting in touch with what feels like truth to you. Your spirit is always communicating to you in subtle ways. Now is a time to listen and feel deeply into what is being impressed upon you. Can you notice what you feel when you appreciate music, art, or how great words move you, or when you feel awe and wonder and excitement? Are you seeing music? Are you hearing colors? Are you experiencing what you're experiencing on more than one sensory level? The more that you can engage and experience things on multi-sensory levels, the more involved and evoked you are by it, the more that you understand what it is to be spirit, what it is to feel the truth of what art is and what creation is. It brings to you a deep satisfaction that then, once you've been there, nothing else but that will do. And in those moments when you experience that feeling of amazement, of awe, of wonder, of full deep immersion into the appreciation and the understanding of what you are experiencing, then I encourage you to capture these moments, be they in thoughts or words or in visuals, or maybe you want to then use that feeling to then express some of your art or baking or something, or do something that pushes out that feeling that you're feeling within, and notice how those pieces are different, and maybe even notice how people respond to those pieces. It's not about having people say that things are good or bad. You're looking for something that captures the soul of somebody, that they understand or they don't. For the ones that resonate with what you're supposed to do, they'll be the ones that resonate with what you are doing. And also, if you're given the visions or the sprinkles, the ideas that there is more for you to do, that the way that things have always been done don't fully give you the scope to allow all that you are or express yourself in the way that you want to, this is when you find the courage and endeavour to find the courage to go against the grain of what is the norm or acceptable, and start to build trust in your own perspective and your own instincts. When you find that truth of yourself, can you then use that to integrate your appreciation, your gratitude, your spiritual practice into this process? Can you make it a meditation? Can you turn it into your worship, your prayer, poetry, whatever you're feeling at the time or whatever you need to say at the time? What I'm guiding you to be open to experience is, when I'm working on a deeper level with clients, to find that part of yourself, that core soul that's so deeply contained within you, but it is without you as well. That's the truth of who you are, and everything comes from there. When you find that, when you know that so well, and when you trust that that is where everything comes from, then whatever you do, whatever the world is doing, you can stand firm in that, and you're also confident that if yours looks different, then that's okay. To close again from Kandinsky, the artist must have something to say, for mastery over form is not his goal, but rather a form to its inner meaning. Thank you so much for listening. If you're enjoying Higher Energetic Resonance Inspirations, please feel free to leave a review and also to share this episode with somebody who may get something from it. If you want to find out more from me, my website is carolmaywhittick.com. That's carolmaywhittick.com. You can find me on Instagram, Kazmic, CAZMICK, and also on Facebook and LinkedIn, Carol May Whittick. Until the next episode, have an amazing week. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.